And so the shit show of 2020 continues. Last night and this morning it's come out that Boris Johnson's dad, his name's Stanley Johnson, he was in a shop without a mask and he forgot to say he was exempt. Well, he still continues to forget to say he's exempt, and so he's in the shit. And his excuse was, "Oh, I don't know, I wasn't sure about the rules." After travelling when he wasn't allowed to, was his son had told everyone not to, and people are trying to defend him, like, oh, he's 80, he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. His son made the fucking rules. You think he'd be at least, have some basic information about it, but yeah. And well, you know, guys, I don't care if you don't wear a mask. I don't think it should be a rule, and I don't think it should be normalised. But obviously, he's, I suppose, in support of his son and stuff, and yeah, so it's just a load of bollocks, really. He shouldn't have to wear a mask. None of us should. But yeah, like you said, that's what his son did, and you think he'd be supportive and going along with the rules, but now he's broken it. It's one rule for them, one rule for the rest of us. And we've seen the same thing with Jeremy Corbyn. He had a dinner party with 9 people, God for fucking bid, and yeah, apparently he's going to get fined 200 quid now. They all are, 1,800 total. But, again, his excuse was, oh, I'm not quite up to date with the rules. You're an MP. Of course you know the rules. You've basically been supporting everything the government's done. So don't give us that bollocks either. You knew the rules and you thought they wouldn't apply to you. And, this is the only time he's been caught. All these MPs and stuff have been caught. Imagine, the amount of time they've actually broken the rules. God, they'd probably be tens of thousands of pounds in debt, all of them right now, if they'd actually been caught. Yeah, so it's just one rule for them, one rule for the rest of us. Complete double standard, and it really pisses me off. And I think it should be fine. Don't wear a mask, have a gathering. That shouldn't be. These restrictions shouldn't be imposed on anyone's life. But yeah, that's the way it is at the moment, and they're breaking their own rules. And it's really not on, and people are really up in arms, and so they should be. Just like with the Parliament thing, the bars in Parliament were allowed to serve alcohol after 10 and stuff, and they've sort of got rid of the exemption, but you still don't have to wear a mask or track and trace or whatever, and that's because of the workplace loophole. But yeah, people should be getting really pissed off about that, and instead of that, I mean, it's been in news a bit, of course, it has to be. But instead of that, they've been focused on these 100-odd students at Coventry Uni having a party. And, the thing is with students right now that, unlike back in the 60s and that, they're not very anti-establishment. People of their demographic are overwhelmingly in support of all the COVID regulations. And so yeah, it's quite surprising to see them not wearing masks for once. And yeah, having a proper look, like you've seen the video, which I'm sure you have. It's a proper rave. They're really going for it, a mosh pit and stuff. And honestly, yeah, instinctively, I think honestly, good on them, because the stuff they've been through. I mean, working their ass off to get into uni, and now their classes are online, they got to wear a mask, they're not meant to have parties. A lot of them in Scotland aren't even meant to go to the pub. Thousands of them have been put under house arrest in their tiny, shitty little rooms. As soon as they got there, they can't go out, and they're paying thousands of pounds a year for the privilege. And so, yeah, don't look at me and tell me they don't deserve to have a bit of a piss up, alright? Everyone else gets a piss up, why don't they? So yeah, but of course, you could say they're a bit hypocritical, although you don't know actually, what those particular students had said about it, had they been preaching, about lockdown and stuff. I don't know. I'd like to think not. So yeah, honestly, good on them. And yeah, all this stuff just goes to show really, how like if people that high up in the establishment, and don't tell me Jeremy Corbyn and Stanley Johnson aren't the establishment, of course they are. They're both MPs. Well, yeah, Stanley's an ex-MP. His son's the Prime Minister, for fuck's sake. You know, he's basically a king regent at this point because his son's a dictator. So yeah, and because he was on I'm a Celebrity and stuff, you can oh no, he's a real person. Come on, cut the crap. Anyone who goes on I'm a Celebrity is by definition part of the establishment. You know, they think they're above all this stuff. They think they can boss you around and ignore the rules themselves. And right now's the time to say no. You know, you're putting all this shit on us. You know, you've got to obey it as well. Or even better, just come out and finally fucking admit that it's absolutely pointless, because it is. It doesn't do anything. Yeah, well, it does. It delays the spread, as you know, but it doesn't stop it. I mean, you know, we were all put under house arrest basically back in March for a month or two, and you know, right now we're getting record cases again. All it did was delay it, and now we're going to have an even shitter winter than you thought. You're probably going to actually increase COVID-19 deaths, because now it's really going to hit in the winter, and people are more vulnerable, less vitamin D and stuff. You know, seasonal affective disorder. Your immune system is less active during the colder, darker months. So yeah, thanks for that one, Boris. And yeah. I would really like to hear from someone who is actually supportive of the government. I mean, there was this whole scandal the other day. Boris, you know, didn't even know what his own restrictions were. So I guess that's what happens when you're such a dictator. You know, you can go around saying what you want because he says so much crap, he forgets half of what he says. So yeah, I expect Boris has probably broken the restrictions himself a few times. But can we all just come together and admit these restrictions are bollocks? And I talked about what would have happened yesterday in Parliament with overturning the Coronavirus Act. Of course, the fucking shit weasel, pretentious, fake libertarian assholes like Steve Baker, they came to a compromise. And so the coronavirus bill is still active, of course. So basically, yeah, we're still in an effective dictatorship. You know, not even a representative dictatorship. But Matt Wancock has so charitably said, "Oh, we will consult Parliament and let them vote whenever it's reasonably, whenever it's national restrictions and whenever it's reasonably possible." So that basically means they're under no obligation to let Parliament vote on anything, and we're all stuck in a dictatorship for 6 months. Failing unprecedented circumstances. So yeah, well done, MPs. Never vote Tory again if you're vaguely libertarian, conservative, or just not a communist asshole, basically. They should be called the Communist Party. That's what they are at this point. I don't know how Wikipedia says they're centre-right, or how it describes a large fraction of its MPs as libertarian. They are not. They do not care about you. They're just power mad, and they'll do whatever it takes. They have no principles whatsoever. They've taken all your freedom away. Don't forget that. And yeah, never vote Tory again. I never have, because I've always been sceptical of this. But I don't know what is going to start to wake people up. Like I said the other day, you know, I was in a pretty good mood because it looks like people are starting to wake up, and that's good. You know, people are questioning the masks, they're questioning the curfew, they're questioning the new normal, basically, the new fucking awful. And people need to do more than question. Go to protests. And the really funny thing about this year is people like David Icke, like Piers Corbyn, even Alex Jones, they are making more sense than Boris and his cronies, aren't they? Like, you go watch Piers Corbyn did this wonderful speech at Trafalgar the other day at a protest, and apparently nearly 100,000 people went, which is great, but of course they're always rookie numbers. We've got to keep bumping them up. It would be great to see 1 million people in London Yeah. Oh, that would be wonderful. But yeah, you have to at this point practice. What's it called? Civil disobedience. Sorry, I don't know why I had a brain fart then. But yeah, you got to practice civil disobedience. Go into a shop. Decide you're exempt, because I tell you, it's very rare that you get challenged, let alone that someone asks if you're exempt. And if they do ask, beyond that, ask you to prove it or whatever, or refuse you entry, you can make sure you record it. But the Equalities Act 2010, there are sections 2913, and yeah, you can actually get a huge payout if they refuse you entry, or even just insist on medical proof. So yeah, make sure you stand up for not just your rights as guaranteed by the government, which are actually quite few, but even beyond that, just stand up for your natural rights. Do what Corbyn does, both of them apparently. Have a nice gathering, have your mates around, have your family around, and certainly don't ruin your Christmas over this. Because at this point, I think that there is more of us than there are of them. There's a lot of people sort of in the middle who are just apathetic. But yeah, generally, I think that the skeptic movement is really organised at the moment, and we really need to make use of that. There needs to be protests, every weekend, every day even, all around the country, and numbers are growing, guys. So yeah, hold on, hope. Yeah, obviously as usual, make sure you talk to your mates about this. Tell people you're exempt. Because the way this is going, it's going to be a really dark future for everyone. So, unless we take action. So yeah, guys. Practice peaceful civil disobedience. Go to protests if you can. That's weird. I've never really been a protester myself. I've never been to one actually. Don't really give a shit about politics until quite recently, anyway. But I don't even know if you call this politics. It's just under attack. It's self-defense, really. But yeah, go to protests. Don't wear a mask. Hug your friends. Try and live as normal life as possible, and try and be kind, but help other people to live a normal life too. So yeah, guys, have a nice day.